Thank you so much for coming out this afternoon. I know the middle of an afternoon is sometimes hard to get time to come and see a piece of theater. So first of all, just really wanted to thank you for being here and welcome you to Wham Theater's Elder Ensemble 2024's production of Center of the Universe. So before we get to see this beautiful piece, I think that getting a little context for where this is made just adds even more depth to this experience. So I wanted to share with you a bit of what this process has been. So our Elder Ensemble consists of 7 elder performers. So these are women in our community between the ages of 65 and 82, which we say elder, but that's actually multiple generations right there within that. And they are led by the directors Katie McTeigue and Michael Kennedy. And they've been meeting since the beginning of September for 2 hours on Tuesday afternoons to create this piece. Now, 2 hours on Tuesday afternoons, that's actually not that much time altogether. And all of the text, except for there's a quote by a little bit of Mary Oliver that is quoted, a poem by Mary Oliver, and there's a bit that is quoted by Sue Monk Kidd. But the rest of the text that you hear was all written in that time by the Elder Ensemble. And yeah, so this is the culmination of that. What else was I going to say? They created it. Oh, yes. And the title was inspired by a line in our fall main stage production, Galileo's Daughter. And that includes the phrase, Center of the Universe. And as I was preparing for to make the speech, I was trying to find the exact line because I was here listening to it when I saw the production last weekend. And I couldn't find the exact line, but there's a line towards the end where it says, "There I am, radiant and whole in the center of my life." And that was kind of framed with the center of my life, center of the universe. And so this was not created exactly in response to that work, but it was used as a jumping off point, as a point to explore and create these writings that became this. So to add even another layer of depth to this experience, I recommend, if you haven't already seen Galileo's Daughter, to book your tickets after you see this show, because they're kind of in conversation with each other, which is extra. I'm extra excited about that. Before I forget, if you have a cell phone with you, which I imagine most people might, could you make sure to either turn it completely off or put it on Do Not Disturb so that you won't get those vibrations or weird unexpected sounds. And after this performance, which lasts somewhere in the world of 30 minutes, it might be a little bit longer, but around 30 minutes, we invite you to join us in the lobby afterwards for a celebration of these remarkable women and what they've made, and we'll have a little toast, and you are welcome to join us for that. We really hope you will. That'll be wrapped up at around 4:30, so the whole experience should be about an hour. And the last thing I want to say is that this group is really amazingly articulate and connected to their whole range of life experiences, which goes from the joyous and sublime to some really tough stuff. And just wanted to say that hardly any of us gets through life without going through some really tough stuff. And we do have some resources and numbers and stuff available in the lobby afterwards. And one of the resources, those are sort of some professional, hotlines and things. But another really valuable resource which we have in the live theater and in this group of women is community. So that's another reason to come and celebrate at that reception, is to continue building that community together and to be there for each other through this weird experience of being human. So I'm going to stop talking now, but without further ado, Please enjoy Wham Theater's 2024 Elder Ensemble production of Center of the Universe.
Before the beginning of anything, there is darkness, stillness, silent, ancient vastness, unfathomable, infinite awe, and nothing. No breath, no breathing, no sound, until into that space, a small something the women work in the way of women, seeing a need and filling it.
Winding the warp, slaying the reed, threading the heddles.
Holding, as women do, the cycle of creation within themselves, they begin weaving the almost imperceptible threads of hope and imagination into whole cloth. They spin the universe, beginning with the grandest design.
Infinite galaxies.
Black holes.
Greedy vortexes.
Endless planets.
And then moving closer in.
Suns.
And moons.
And stars.
And then, to show off just a little,
meteor showers. Aurora borealis. Comets.
and after a pause,
Gravity.
and finally us. And after all that, the women decide they need a bit of a nap. So they pack away their looms and they leave it to the day shift to do the finishing touches.
At the end of the out-breath,
Before the in-breath,
a space.
They gather their blankets and pillows and head off to rest. But first, they call in the ones who knit each mortal's destiny, creating the pattern of each person's life, measuring the allotted length and cutting the thread when our time is at an end. They call in the fates.
This holy vehicle of a body, this vessel, this tool, this instrument with which I perceive and feel and interact with my world, with your world, with the world at large, with the universe, and beyond imagining.
Yeah, hold your horses. Wait, horses got created already, right?
Yeah.
Well then, hold them.
Honey, you gotta wait for us to knit your story. Oh, a story. In a story, I can envision a place for myself. The center of the universe spins out from the past.
Well, actually,
The center of the universe is my best hope for its completion. Its fruition, its shining light, hum of a song, the mystery of the night sky.
ooh boy.
I don't know yet where my center will be, but my heart tells me to go towards love, towards trust, towards affection and joy.
Well, I mean, okay, you're getting closer. But it's not going to be all roses and sunshine, you know. Roses and sunshine got created already, right?
Yeah.
Okay then. So yeah,
ixnay on the rosazay, okay? You're all a little overly optimistic.
We're not just making baby blankets here, you know.
You gotta have some drop stitches.
Tangled yarn.
Knitting in the wrong direction.
Complicated patterns are the best. Gotta keep things interesting.
But those are people's lives you are making.
Yeah, well, actually, they're your lives.
The three of us? Our lives?
Sure, I'm working on yours right now. Oops. Whoops. Well, that will turn into something interesting for you.
Oh my God, pay attention to what you're doing. Aren't you going to fix that?
You're not the center of the universe, honey.
We got a quota to meet.
Plus, you all want an interesting life, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Well, okay then.
Well, that's the end of our shift. Here you go.
But are those even finished?
What about all those dangling threads?
I don't know.
You'll figure it out.
Wait, best wishes.
Thoughts and prayers.
And so it is for each of us, right? Handed an imperfect, remarkable, confusing, painful, joyous life, we try to find our way. We search for the center of our own universe, the place that holds fast through every moment of celebration and despair, our own still point of the turning world.
The center of her universe is the dining room table. Dishes and forks fly around. Then placemats become a desk with thank you notes and bills to pay. The landline rings. The smartphone is the center of his universe. Apps swipe left by photos of faces, real and unreal messages, all mixed with calendar days and alarms for sleep. Sleep. Beds are the center of the night universe. Pillows of all sizes littered with charging cords, earbuds, lost reading glasses, reachable books, and a view of the lamp on the ceiling. Somehow a dog nestles in. Dog centers the house universe. Water bowls, wags, pleading eyes, hair, everywhere hair. Outside around the house, she walks the dog at dog's request. Walks in the woods center her universe.
But finding the center of the universe does not guarantee a tasty reawakening. Finding the center does not mean wobbles turn to sweet dance. Sometimes it seems there is no center to find.
I'm 13 years old, and I just discovered the Holocaust on television. Judgment at Nuremberg. It contains newsreel footage of what the GIs found when they went into the camps. It was unspeakable. So I don't talk for 3 days. I don't know any history at this point, so I have no context in which to put this. So what it looks like is what it is. What one bunch of people is doing to another bunch of people for no reason. So I asked my poor mother, and she tries unsuccessfully to explain anti-Semitism to me. This puts me off the human race. I thought, if this is the kind of thing we do to each other, then what hope is there for the human species? So I start keeping 2 lists in the back of my journal, Bach and Buchenwald. And all the glorious, beautiful, incredible things, the Shakespeare and the Mozart and Albert Einstein, they all go into the Bach column. And all the hideous, horrible stuff, Hitler, Stalin, Pol Pot, goes into the Buchenwald column. But there's no reconciliation. There's no answers anywhere, ever.
Every year, everything I have ever learned leads me back to this: the fires and the black river of loss.
I am 3. My sister is 2, and my brother is just born. My mother is exhausted. She goes to her bedroom to briefly close her eyes, and my sister and I are left alone. We're playing with doctor and nurse kits, the white plastic kind with a lid that snaps. We run out of candy pills, so I take a chair, climb up to the medicine cabinet, empty a bottle of pills, and give them to my sister. My mother finds her unconscious, calls for an ambulance. I'm 3 years old, and I almost killed my sister.
The black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know.
I'm 29, and my feet cannot grow in your elaborate antique potable soil. I really tried staying, composting and digging for treasure beneath the fragile facade, but I kept bumping into sharp shards of family legacy, that quicksand of judgment. I'm here to say how much I appreciate you all, but no thanks. I'm getting out.
To live in this world, you must be able to do 3 things: to love what is mortal.
I am 28 and engaged, with a wedding planned for September 9th. My sister, a year younger, happens to be dating a man who is a clone of my fiancé, with blonde hair and blue eyes. She becomes engaged and decides to book her wedding 3 weeks before mine. And now, she doesn't want me as her maid of honor, but instead, she chooses her best friend.
You must be able to do 3 things: to love what is mortal.
A few months later, with the weddings behind us, I asked her why she upstaged me. She said I was always in the limelight. She wanted to be number 1 for once. She says she did it on purpose.
To love what is mortal. To hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it. And when the time comes to let it go, to let it go.
And sometimes the universe announces itself when we're about to give up hope.
I am 40 years old. It's a warm summer's day as I go to play a funeral on top of a high hill in Adams. There's a wide open meadow and a single tree casting some shade. The deceased was an artist much loved by her family and friends. I take up position under the tree, spare the pipes the sun. I'm striking in the pipes to play the first tune called Going Home. But there's something wrong with the pipes. The bag has sprung a leak and I'm struggling to play. I feel panic set in as I think about playing the final tune, the special request, Amazing Grace, at the end. The time comes and I step out from behind the tree, praying, please let me play this well for this lovely woman. I strike in the pipes, and all of a sudden, up from the ground in front of the tree, a stream of white light appears, whooshing up through me and up and out the top of the drone pipes. The bag is tightening up. I played the tune well. Afterward, 2 of her friends call out to me.
What was that? Did you see that?
They described the light exactly as I saw it.
It was her. It was her.
And we're all weeping and laughing together.
When we can find that still point, that place in our universe that holds fast, we often don't find it alone. We find it together in circles of women who look for the pattern, who overlap sections of cloth too threadbare to stay strong on their own, who take the cast-offs, the remnants, the small pieces of dreams and memories, and turn it into something more. We find our own pattern in the pattern of others. We quilt.
Close your eyes to hear the universe growing. See nothing. Nothing is the something that is there.
I am myself here, this moment to the next. This dawn, I didn't have the heart to smack a fat exoskeletal ant escaping from the juicy nectarine upon my approach. To crush it would have cracked the silence of being as we were.
Being as we were.
I'm not sweet 16, more bittersweet and overripe. No one has ever kissed me the way I want to be kissed. I think as I jump into the seat of the Ferris wheel near Panama City, Florida, the beach they call the Miracle Mile, when the attendant grazes my breast, closing the metal bar, I feel creeped out. But later, when the guys in the Mustang with the Playboy bunny insignia on the side window tell me how cute I am and that they'd like me at their beach party that night, I am thrilled.
I'm 32, at the wild, sandy coast of Northern California, heart throbbing in my throat. On the verge of a rite of passage, I am to perform a dance of the moment, no rehearsals, and authentic to who I am. Before Anna Halprin, my dance mother, and 15 other workshoppers, I trust the process. Anna has said, your dance is your life, and your life is a dance. I was seduced by those words. I abandoned traditional dance forms and absorbed their essence, the grace and extension of ballet, the dramatic depth of Martha Graham's contraction and release.
My mother says I will have to ask my father if I can go. I can tell something is bothering her. Does she miss her lover, Daddy's business partner Frank, who is just as slick as my dad is not? I almost regret blowing the whistle on them by telling Daddy when he asked where she was, "She's out shopping in her mink stole and cocktail dress as usual."
On the trek to the dance site, I gather up a 10-foot-long, translucent, and golden bullwhip kelp, curled on the beach like a serpent, like a providential familiar, and drag her along with me.
He's a great but distant daddy who's brought me the Monster Mash 45, skateboard, a surfboard, and the coolest little checkerboard transistor radio I've ever seen. But he's a workaholic, trying to make enough money so Mother will like him again. I know this isn't going to happen.
Once there before my witnesses, I inhale the pressure of my task.
I go to the dock where there's a boat channel where my father and brother can go scuba diving. He won't let me go with them. They're out there somewhere with their dinghy. I know he's not going to let me go to the beach party, but I gotta ask. And I wish I'd been allowed to go out there so I could try to butter him up.
On the spot, expected to perform, judged perhaps. Words well up out of the depth of me. Stop! Now! Hurry! I began to intone those contradictory commands. Stop! Now! Hurry! Stop! Now! Hurry! I grab up kelp and wrestle it overhead as it becomes a serpent. I am energized by a fury internalized as my father's voice growing up.
I give up and go take a bath. And then I hear my sister screaming like it's the end of the world. I throw on clothes and race out to the boat dock, and I see my father covered in blood, so thick I think it's coming from his stomach when it's really coming from his head.
I circle the sandy arena, stride, lunge, run victoriously, brandishing the monster in triumph. I take up my space.
I stop my little sister on the sidewalk and don't let her see him.
More and more space.
Because I'm already thinking this is the kind of thing that traumatizes you for life, even though I don't know the word traumatize yet.
I am breaking through restraints, learned as the only child of a proud, determined, hard-working Filipino immigrant father and a first-generation Czechoslovakian mother who still felt, despite her professional accomplishments, honey, it's a man's world.
Later, after the drunk boat guy has lost it, trying to apologize to us at the hospital, and the motel has given us free dinner, and the American Legionnaires are maybe even trying to party a little quieter, my mother explains how Daddy was probably chasing a big fish with a spear gun, and he accidentally surfaced into the motor of the motorboat. She's just going to call our family's good friend Frank now.
Finally, my rhythm resolves into a lilting waltz, and I am satisfied.
I begin to realize that Daddy set up the suicide quite well, reinstating his life insurance a few months before and complaining loudly about how the mouthpiece of his scuba gear didn't work right. Nobody wants to jinx the triple payment of the life insurance for accidental death, so I had to keep quiet about what I know happened.
As a coda and a resolution, I sink into
the water.
I hadn't been down to the bee yard yet, and so she felt like she needed to give me a few lessons in what she called bee yard etiquette. She reminded me that the world was really one bee yard, and that the rules that worked in one worked well in the other. Don't be afraid. No life-loving bee wants to kill you. But don't be an idiot. Wear long pants and long sleeves. Don't swat. Don't even think about swatting. If you're angry, whistle. Bees like whistling. It calms them. Anger agitates them.
Got myself this small house with my awesome spouse so we can raise kids in a kinder universe. know dozens of cousins better than me, dead or alive, yet unrelated to my Puritan heart. Maybe our kids will be adopted. Fingers crossed. Better not all tied up in my DNA, but related to my heart.
I am 27 and I am pregnant. I know when this happened. I was visiting Billy in New York. He's so much fun. But I don't want to have this baby. I'm being cared for by a very nice doctor and his nurse in an office that's somehow in the woods. Heather delivers me there, and Wendy takes me home. I feel okay. I look to my future.
Now I am 60-something. We have built and abandoned a bunch of elaborate pots to grow in. In each of them, I created unfamiliar openings, like a strawberry pot with holes of earth, for 2 adopted kids and me to grow out of into the big wide world.
I'm 40 and I'm pregnant. We have been trying and gotten help all along the way. Some small surgeries, an artificial insemination that worked the first try. Everyone who has offered assistance has been kind. This baby is wanted.
Jumping from home to home, I never quite took root again, but I've learned, and I will take root, that is, because it's time to move again. I know what to leave, who to bring along, how to stay connected. Yes, I appreciate you all.
I haven't missed my chance. I will have love. She will be a work of art as we experiment, confer, and look for her to guidance.
Act like you know what you're doing, even if you don't. Above all, send the bees love. Every little thing wants to be loved.
Say what you will.
We will do this together. I'm planting myself
into this fertile, well-drained, raised bed.
"125 years ago, fashionable women wore not only plumes from rare and exotic birds on their hats, but sometimes whole dead birds. One featured parts from 3,000 Brazilian hummingbirds. Countless bluebirds, egrets, herons, warblers were hunted to near extinction. But a Boston socialite and activist, Harriet Hemingway, organized a boycott of these hats with tea parties and circulars and pressure on male bird experts and politicians. Her new organization, now Mass Audubon, led to bird sanctuaries and the National Seashore.
I'm 61 years old. My husband, Bob, is 82, and he is dying. I'm keeping him company as he drifts in and out of consciousness here at home in our bedroom. Awake now, I lean into his ear and whisper, I know you think there's nothing after this life, and I know you know that I think there is. When you get there, if there's a there, will you let me know? He nods his head yes and slips off again.
I stand in the parking lot at the end of the street named after her in Wellfleet. Beyond me is the town boat dump with hundreds of brightly colored dinghies along its coast. Behind that, salt marshes full of egrets, herons, terns, gulls, surf scooters, and other ducks are coming back at twilight to hunt their dinner and settle in for the night.
Awake again, Bob is saying he's on a train to the seaside as a boy with his family. I tell him he'll need the train fare, and I pick up a penny from the bedside table and press it into his hand. I'm thinking, though, that the fare might have gone up since he was a boy. And I give him another penny. He holds the 2 pennies as he drifts off again.
Soon, serious photographers with huge cameras on tripods will set up to try and capture winged wonder heading home.
Bob has died tonight, and the dawn is breaking. I go to the back door to see what the world looks like without Bob in it. I look down at the bench outside the door, and there on it are 2 pennies.
But just for this moment, it's just me and thousands of birds.
There is so much to learn right now
From where we are and where we are going.
Let gravity cushion me like a huge open hand.
At the center
Of the universe
My light
To your light.
is the light.